Welcome to another 3Mark Foreign National Series Cyber Chat session. I am Russ Katz with 3Mark Financial, and today we are chatting with Jay Tildon. He's Director of Underwriting with National Life Group, and he specializes in the foreign national market. Before we get to Jay, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and check out our exclusive Foreign National Playbook located on our website, 3mark.com, under News and Events. There you'll find a wealth of information from general insights to materials for all of our core carriers, strongest in the foreign national space, such as National Life Group. If you have any questions or comments after watching this video, please contact me or your sales contacts here at 3Mark. Okay, Jay, let's jump right in.
Right.
Let's
Thanks for
go
having
right
me,
in.
Russ.
Absolutely. Jay, can you share your background and how long you've been focused specifically in the foreign national space?
Well, I go back to my reinsurance days. So I was actually at RGA on their international markets team, and we would do annual reviews of countries and things like that nature. So it goes back quite some time ago. However, here at National Life, we started our new foreign national program somewhere around 2019. Then, of course, COVID hit, and then so kind of paused it for, but it's back in full force now.
Okay, excellent. And what motivated you to seek a leadership role in the foreign national space over at NLG?
Well, my background experience, I think it fits well, but also I personally enjoy travel. So it's kind of a personal thing. And then so I do keep in touch with all the current world events that go on and things of that nature. So so it was kind of just a good fit for both.
Excellent. All right, let's dive right into some general questions about the foreign national market opportunity. Why do you think producers should be interested in the foreign national market opportunity?
Well, in the foreign national market, especially those who are trying to bring their assets here in the United States, their liability exposure, U.S. tax liability exposure is greater than a U.S. citizen. So therefore, they do need to have adequate coverage to cover their future estate tax needs, tax liability needs in the United States. And a lot of people want to transfer a lot of their wealth to the United States. So that's just a good way to cover some of their risk.
Okay. And with the change in the market post-COVID, have you seen any lasting effects, or would you say that we're back to business as before?
We're almost back to business as we were before, Russell. I think there have been some changes. Some we've gone back to kind of what we were doing before. And so I think things are just pretty much back to normal.
Yeah, great. And Jay, I think you touched on this a little bit earlier, but the question is, what problems does U.S. life insurance solve for foreign nationals? Or I guess, could you outline particular considerations that global clients may have, and do these concerns differ based on their country of citizenship?
So there are some differences depending on country. Some countries allow freer movement of assets. And you have some countries that do not. They only have certain limitations on how much they can move on an annual basis, that sort of thing. So look, a lot of people want to have assets here in the United States because they see it as a potential growth opportunity for their assets, as well as just in general a safe environment for their assets as well. And I did mention that, with the life insurance, it can cover their tax liability because they only have a $60,000 exemption here in the United States as compared to a U.S. citizen. So there is a significant tax liability that needs to be covered. So that's why we do suggest getting permanent coverage, by the way.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jay. At a high level, what are carriers looking for when it comes to foreign nationals? I know we'll get into a little bit more about National Life Group, but at a high level, do all carriers have the same rules?
They don't all have the same rules. There are some, and we'll get into some of our specific rules later. But I think what most of the carriers are looking for is kind of what I mentioned earlier. They're looking for, first of all, more wealthy clients that are coming from abroad, not necessarily middle market. I would say they're looking for high-end individuals who tend to want to keep bringing assets to the United States and get coverage to cover their tax liabilities for those assets. So I think that answered both of your questions there.
You did. Thanks, Jay. And again, generally, what are some of the more common documents a carrier would need?
Well, most of the time we need to have a passport. Really, what we're trying to do is establish the nexus here in the United States with their assets. I mean, that's the bottom line what the coverage is for. There are situations where if they're not being examined and stuff here in the United States, we may ask them to go out to the State Department and run what's called I-94, basically in the travel history. That just kind of shows us when they entered the United States, how long they've been here, and that sort of thing. We do have to make sure that we do have to verify, their locations at the time of the application sometimes. So typically they have exams and things of that nature done. We don't do that. So those are some of the things that not all carriers will be looking for those. We do kind of differ. We do not ask for visas. A lot of times they will supply their visa though, and that's fine. If they want to supply that, that's fine.
How long is typically the application process? I'm sure there's some sort of range, if you can speak to that.
Yeah, it really depends on the client. I mean, sometimes the clients are not going to be here in time to have exams done and things of that nature, because we have to have both the application and the exams completed on U.S. soil. So the other challenge sometimes we run into is we do like when medical records are required, we do like the clients to bring their medical records with them. They can provide translations sometimes. Sometimes we can get translations. It really depends on the language and whatnot. So.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Jay. Well, let's get into more of the National Life Group specific information about your foreign national program. So what does National Life Group have to offer specifically in the foreign national space, or yeah, what solutions does National Life Group offer?
Yeah, well, I'm proud to announce to you that we recently increased our auto bond limits in the foreign national space to, right now it's at 25 million. Now, of course, that depends on which country and what kind and that sort of thing. However, we are still looking to add an additional 5 more million to get to all of our permanent products at 30 million. So that's what our goal is. We do take some pride here at National Life. We were kind of one of the first insurance companies to basically do away with visas. The only visa that we currently use on a routine basis is what an F1 visa, F2 visas, and that's for students. So we do allow that to be their nexus in the United States. However, other than that, we're not concerned about visas per se. We want to know what the nexus is and what kind of assets you have here. We will ask for documentation of those assets, and then we can figure out exactly what kind of future, tax liability, the face amounts, and make sure that they qualify for the amounts that they're applied for. So.
All right, and can you speak a little bit more about what makes National Life Group unique, kind of what sets you all apart?
I do think, as I stated, I do think that we're getting away from visas. I think there's too much hang up in the visa. To me, that really has no bearing on whether or not you have assets here in the United States. And that's what we made that shift. That's what the reinsurers have agreed with us, that we're covering that tax liability. So we really need to get the visas now. We do look at some global assets. Once we've established a U.S. Nexus presence. So that can be some of the challenges, getting some of the global assets verified. But we will look at some of the global assets too. And the thought process there, Russell, is that eventually they will try to bring some of those assets over to the United States as well. So obviously we can't put an actual figure on that, but we do like to take some of the global assets into place when necessary.
Right. Okay, great, Jay. Thanks. Next question is in regards to National Life Group's specific foreign national guidelines. You touched on some of it. Is there anything regarding National Life, I can't even talk, National Life Group specific guidelines that you haven't touched on that you'd like to talk about?
I guess the real, in a short way of putting it, is in our accessibility from an underwriting standpoint. We like to make sure that the field can call us on various, because look, you're gonna make foreign national guidelines, but it's not gonna cover every scenario, right? So there may be a unique scenario you want to discuss. My name is on there, and I'm proud enough that we're actually in the process of trying to form a foreign national team. And so we're going to have more individuals in play here, and eventually we'll have the whole team listed on our guidelines. And then you can feel free to call us at any time, at any point. One of the things I do want to mention that I haven't is that our definition of a foreign national might be different from a lot of people. Our foreign national is anybody who was not in the United States 8 months out of the calendar year. So if you're here 8 months out of the calendar year, we basically then underwrite you as a U.S. resident, not a foreign national. So that allows you to, in terms of different products and different face amounts and things of that nature, on an auto basis. So I think some companies are going to be different as far as that definition. And so that is one area that kind of differentiates us.
Okay, and I'm glad you pointed that out. It's a great point. Tell me, what are some of the challenges you may encounter when trying to obtain information on foreign nationals?
Well, there are certain cultures who are very tight-lipped about their assets and things of that nature. And so sometimes that's a bit of a challenge because we're letting them know that we're not, we're their friends here. We're trying to just get them as much coverage as them. Sometimes getting the proper medical requirements, especially doctor's reports and things of that nature, can be a little bit of a challenge. Not everybody has the same healthcare management that the United States does, and so things can be a little bit different. Getting proper translations and things of that nature can sometimes be a challenge. It really depends on the language. We're pretty well versed in Mandarin and Spanish and some other languages, but sometimes it could be a unique situation where we do run into that challenge. So.
Okay, great. And kind of piggybacking on that a little bit, are there some ways that underwriting has been able to work with the customer to be able to satisfy what National Life Group needs?
Yeah, so one of the ways that we have reinstituted is a lot of times these clients do not stay in the United States. They come here to fill out their application. They move some assets or whatever. And so we have a situation where we can allow what's called a limited power of attorney. And as long as they have that document in place before they leave, it has to be notarized and things of that nature, that power of attorney can then accept the policy for them. So therefore, they don't have to keep coming back to the United States and things of that nature. So we have reinstituted that with our reinsurers. They're all comfortable with that process. And so we feel that that's a good way of, especially for clients who are only here on limited time. So.
Right. Okay, great. Well, we've motored through a bunch of questions. We're we're nearing the end. We have two more questions to go, Jay, then we can break. Next question is, what products does National Life Group offer to foreign nationals? Is term available? Are there riders available? What's out there that's available?
So no, we don't feel like term is the correct avenue to cover these U.S. tax liabilities. So we're looking at permanent coverage. Now we do have something what's called an APP rider, which is basically pure protection. It's almost like a term rider that they can put onto those policies. It does cut down on the cost because it's strict coverage. There's no commissions based on that and all that kind of stuff. So they can run proposals that use that rider, and it can help cut down on some of the costs though. But no, we feel permanent coverage, and of course our big products are in the IUL space, right? So that's our bread and butter. But we do have whole life and some other older permanent products that they can use too.
Fantastic. And so here we are at the last question. How does National Life Group handle translations, language translations, or interpretations of medical records and such?
Yeah, so I kind of touched base a little bit on this earlier, Russ. We do have some internal resources on Mandarin and Spanish very fluently. And those are kind of the two biggest areas of that we see in the foreign national market. However, we have one unique underwriter who speaks like 5 different languages. So we cover a lot of the translations. They'll be in a situation or two where they do not provide translation. We can get them done. Now we do have another outside translation service. It is a little bit costly though, so we try to avoid using that. But yeah, for the most part, we get everything translated, and we make that known up front to the producers so that they have those records and things translated.
Excellent, excellent. All right, we made it through pretty quickly. We mowed it through a bunch of questions. There's always still outstanding questions that we may not have touched on, but folks, to everyone watching this video, as you can see, there is a huge opportunity in the foreign national space. Be on the lookout for an invitation to perhaps Power Lunch, a webinar, maybe even a part 2 of this conversation with answers and insights to foreign national related information. Remember, if you have foreign national cases, or if you're just starting out in the space, or simply want to learn more about it, please contact us. We have the knowledge, the expertise, and the resources to manage your foreign national business, from carrier and product selection to underwriting and case placement. Also, again, please check out our foreign national playbook on 3mark.com. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me or your sales contacts here at 3Mark. Jay, thanks again for joining us today. And thank you,
Russell,
for your continued partnership. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. All right.